Everyone, good evening. Hi, Anna. Hey, Brian Boone. Hi, Sherry. Hope you're doing well. Hey, I'm going to have a 5 minute mindfulness meditation. You're welcome to join me. I'll guide us in, and then we'll sit for a few, and then we'll come back for the detox practice. So, comfortable seated position, head above your heart. Oh, amazing. Welcome to your husband, Anna. So any comfortable position with your head above your heart, use your arms, the hands connected to your legs, and so that you can soften the shoulders. This is where we pick up what's really going on when we get into the mindfulness meditation. So our minds can many times fool us, and our motivation or our focus or what we want and to see, all of that can play an effect on where you are. But when you drop into a mindfulness meditation, you sit and you observe what actually is versus what your mind may want it to be or make it to be. So, okay, let's find our position, and then you're welcome to close your eyes down. And as you feel the base and you feel some sensations in your body, you let that draw you inward. And so you're utilizing the body into ground, and to be in this place, your body can only be in one place while your mind can travel to many different places. And then rather than utilizing the mind or stressing the mind or stimulating the mind, you want to see what the mind's doing right now. So we observe the thoughts. And a way to observe the thoughts is by observing the breath. And then everything else wraps itself around the observation of the breath, whether it's what you're feeling sensationally, what you're feeling emotionally, or where your mind's at mentally tonight. And you can simply watch the air as it comes into your body and feel the air as it travels out of your body. And go ahead and make any last little adjustments. And then with much patience as you can, set still here for the next few minutes. Observe. And then I'll call you back before we start our detox practice tonight. Enjoy. In your seat, please sit up nice and tall. Wherever your mind may have gone, bring it back to your body, bring it back to your breath, and take an inhale. And go ahead and release the exhale out of your mouth. And take a moment to observe what you're feeling, and then after that moment, you can begin to slowly bring your eyes back into the space, and yet continue to experience the practice. So it didn't start and then stop. It continues even when you open your eyes. And so welcome back, everybody. Continuation of our practice in this evening for a detox. Hi, Era. Hi, Roz. And so happy, so nice to be with you on the mat, guiding the practice. I'm happy you're here. Yin yoga, what we call detox, is the opposite. So if there's a spectrum of energy, you have yang and you have yin, right? You have the sun and you have the moon. So we're empowered by both of them, the sun and the moon, to use them as an example. So same way as our yang and our yin, our vinyasa and our detox, what we call in the morning our fit and our flow. And so what we're doing is the essence of balance. That's it. When it comes to energy and then penetrating energy into our body, the interpretation of energy through your mind. And so we're striking or practicing in that sense of balance. And by doing both of these classes, and if you don't do both, that's okay. There's still a nice balance and mindfulness wrapped around practicing yoga and breath work. And there's a lot of studies on breath work and meditation and how they calm the central nervous system, which then obviously feeds the, what your mind is doing and how your brain is functioning. So if we can invest an hour here, we invest 23 other hours elsewhere. Seems like a decent proposition. Good evening, Ari. Okay, just wanted to mention, if you didn't see it, I was led on by a friend of mine, Simone, in regards to the town hall that President Obama had this afternoon, probably around 3 o'clock our time. It's on YouTube, and I put the link in my bio on Instagram at YogaLifeJoeK. So if you want to check that out, there's a lot of great information in regards to the movement, and this was more specifically, I think the title is Reimagining Policing in the Wake of Continued Police Violence. So that link is in my bio if you wanted to check that out. I found it to be very, very informative, and some great speakers giving a lot of great information there. All right, you guys, let's start our practice tonight lying down. So go ahead and release to your back. Let your legs go long with your arms by your sides. Hey, Ari, let me know, but I think, hope the volume's okay. So you guys feel free to ever let me know if you're having a hard time hearing me. I'm up pretty high from the morning's class. We set the volume up a little bit higher, so hopefully everything sounds good. And then you can go ahead, like I said, to release onto your back. And if you tuck the shoulder blades under once on each side, that'll flatten your shoulder girdle into the ground. And let this release flow out of your hips, down through your knees, into your feet. And when we start the practice, the essence of letting go can be a bit more subtle than as we continue to the practice. Those of you that have been doing detox with us throughout the quarantine, you know that there's a build. There's actually a energetic flow with detox, just like there is with vinyasa or flow. And the intensity builds, and then we find ourselves reducing that intensity, and then eventually making our way into some other place, hopefully with more space in our body and some some calm in our minds, and a lot of love in our hearts. Take a few breaths tonight. Big inhales through the nose. Exhale, let the air come out of your mouth. So it could be a sigh, and just feel some of that release. And now we can let the breath fall into its natural state, unforced, unchanged, noticing the cycles as they persist, as one exhale connects to the next inhale. And so if you ever find your mind getting too lost in the wandering element, that's why you use that element of watching the breath or the air come into your body and go out. It keeps us grounded. And the interpretation of the practice inward versus, what could be happening around us, and the external influence and the distractions. So this time is for you to fill up from the inside out, and restore and relax. We'll take about a minute here, get lost in the weight or the connection, the feeling, and the parts of your body that are connected to the mat. Get lost in that weight. You notice if you're feeling any hardness around your throat, tightness in your kind of muscles, the scalene muscles running down the neck into the chest. Relax those. And go ahead and bend your legs and so that your feet are flat onto the mat. And press into your feet. So you lift your bum a couple inches. Turn your palms down and then slide the back of your hands under. If you're wearing rings and stuff, you might want to take the ring off. That might not feel so comfortable. And you can adjust the shoulders as you let the hips come down onto the hands. So we want the weight of the pelvis and to be sitting on the back of the hands, compressing through the wrists. And once you get settled there, bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall apart. So your legs come into a butterfly shape, diamond shape. And you can slide the heels away a little bit further. And this is just playing on the bone structure of your thighs coming into your pelvis. So go where you feel most free. And certainly you can feel some sensations, and we're going to let those sensations build up over a period of time, which you need not worry about. And that's a huge benefit in the practice and the guidance, is that you don't have to worry about the time element. You can close your eyes, relax, and watch the breath essentially do nothing while you're in the pose. Remain still. And I may give you a little context and share some experience or direction to your practice. And sometimes I'll give you a lot of silence and a lot more space. And then I'll call you back. So, be willing to fall into it or at least head down that path tonight. If there's any apprehension, if you feel your body holding you back, notice it. And then observe it letting go. The more you build that relationship into your practice, and kind of trust your body to release. And again, if you notice that you're sitting in a tongue that is tense or the muscles around your neck into your chest, you do your best and to notice that with your mind and then to allow those muscles to release. And if you're holding any tension in your bum, you're feeling that on the back of your hands. Relax and release your bum. About 1 more minute in this shape. And certainly normal if you're getting the pulse in your hands, or you're starting to feel the coordinated effect of releasing the tension in the hands and the wrist into what we might be holding in our throat and our voice. The wrists are connected to the throat, the voice. And because there's such a weight to the detox practice called gravity, when that weight is released, sometimes you'll get this overwhelming effect where you feel like you just gotta let it out. So don't, scare anybody at your house, but it may feel good to let out a sigh when you come in to the rebound, right? Or if you want to let out something a little bit louder than a sigh, you're welcome to do that too. And take it nice and slow. And we'll show our body what the rebound is. So nice and slow, start to turn your knees back up. And the rebound is essentially more space expanded within yourself that is with you now and wasn't with you before based on what you just did in the posture. Feel your feet, lift your hips an inch, slide your hands out. And then let's go ahead and feel in the space of the rebound. Arms by your sides, palms up. And go ahead and let your legs go out long onto your mat. And sometimes there's a vibration. Sometimes you can feel a temperature change in your body, a pulse, a tingle. And sit with the sensation, observe the sensation throughout the entire body. And we'll just continue to layer, so you might already feel much more relaxed than when you started. Keep the hips heavy. Bring your left ankle, cross it over your right ankle. And so the heels of your feet are over on the right side edge of your mat with your left ankle on top. Take your arms over your head and connect your right hand to the inside of your left wrist. And then you can move your shoulders closer to the right side edge of your mat. From there, right hand to left wrist. Left ankle over your right ankle. Let your head and your shoulders and your hips and your heels all be heavy. And we'll hold ourselves up in this side body stretch. If you did practice this morning, we got a lot of side body love. Right? And the essence is if we change the side body, we're going to change the quality of the breath that we're taking. And that involuntary function of breath will be slower. It'll be more calm. And if you need to make any adjustments here, this could be a bit tighter in the shoulder, a bit tighter in the hips. And make the adjustment, find what your kind of comfort zone around discomfort is here. And then go ahead and begin to practice stillness, mental awareness around the sensation, and with the ability to observe your thoughts or anything that comes up, emotions, and cross the spectrum, and while you're in the shape. We'll observe about 5 more breaths on this side. Again, the opportunity is to be with the sensations, to observe any thoughts should they appear, sitting in the stillness of your body and allowing the body to release whatever it needs to release tonight. And start to release the right hand from the left wrist. And slide your shoulders back. And then let your arms come down by your sides. And then go ahead and uncross your left ankle. And make any adjustments in your hips. Set up relatively and square and flat. Notice the difference on your left side versus your right side. And we're going to let the chin roll off to the left. So you're just rocking on the back of your head. Chin to the left. Your right ear is facing up towards the ceiling. And we'll keep listening. You notice it's quite the opposite if you're used to a yoga practice and where you're breathing and you're moving and you're flowing. A lot of times your drawn effort and focus is in that essence of doing, but in this case, it's not so much about when you're in the pose, it's that space that you're able to feel, that you're able to observe, and the changes and that take place in between the poses. And feeling that means, you're not the same as you were before the pose as you are after the pose. Bring your chin back to center. And take a nice deep breath in. Might feel good to let out here. And take your right ankle, cross it over your left ankle, please. And so your heels are on the left side edge of your mat, and then arms over your head. Left hand connects to your right wrist. Slide the shoulders without moving the hips, so the hips have to stay heavy. And then from here you can let the shoulders and the head, feel something in your right side body. It can be anywhere from the outer thigh, the outer hip, and the side of your ribs, all the way up into your shoulders, in your neck, and then start to settle the mind around the sensation and the weight of the body. And teacher is stillness. And if your mind's moving quite a bit, that is okay. Let it move. Watch the beauty of your mind. If it moves fast, if it moves slow, if it's, here, if it's somewhere else, if it's nothingness, celebrate your mind. Let's observe about 5 more breaths on this side, please. At the end of this exhale, begin to release the wrists. As the arms come back down by the sides, and then you can adjust your shoulders and back square. Once you get there, release your right ankle from your left. And adjust your hips if you need to. You might feel nice and to take a deep breath as you come into the rebound. And on the exhale, let your chin fall off to the right. And so the left ear is open and facing the ceiling. And don't be surprised if the stillness is challenging. We're not necessarily conditioned to be this still for this long. And so it could feel nice. You can get a lot of satisfaction around the gentle transitions of movement in between. So enjoy that as well. Start to roll your chin back to center. Bend your legs, bring your feet flat onto the mat. And let's reach your right arm over your head, roll onto your right side. And use your left hand, make your way all the way up to all fours. And body should feel heavy. We've been, compressing and releasing deeper around the joints. And so when you get to all fours, there could be some aches and some sensations. We're going to separate the knees wider than the hips. So let's say your knees are mat width distance apart. And keep your hips on the vertical plane with your knees. So I'm not taking the bum back nor bringing the bum forward. And begin to slide your hands out onto the floor, onto your mat. And come down onto your elbows first. So a nice way to think about it is child's pose with your butt up in the air. And as your elbows slide out, perhaps a little bit wider, and you can bring your forehead down onto the mat. And when your forehead lands, it's going to give your shoulders permission to release. And so the weight of the upper torso is going to start to compress into your shoulders while expanding through your chest and utilizing that length we just created in our side bodies and to hopefully find a position of stillness here. If your body allows you to go deeper into this, then your arms just slide out and the hands further away from the top of your head. And then instead of the forehead, you might go ahead and turn so that your chin is on the ground. But you want to make sure you're not feeling too compressed in the back of your neck if your chin's on the ground. And begin to relax here. one more minute here. And let gravity fall through your armpits, deep flexion in your shoulders. But a nice release of weight that you may have been carrying in your low back as your belly falls away from your spine. You'll really slow draw your belly in and start to tuck the chin, come back to your forehead. And then one arm at a time, begin to slide your elbows back in towards you. And take a bait there, feel your shoulders and your chest come back to neutral. And then you can bring yourself up to one palm. Then back to the other palm, bring your knees towards each other. And you can either sit directly back onto your heels, or if you want to put a pillow or a yoga block in between your feet. And if your knees and your ankles are really tight, and so go slow, hips back towards your heels. And hands can remain here on the mat. Again, if your knees and your ankles are feeling this quite a bit, just soften your chin. Try to keep the muscles in your neck and your shoulders relaxed. And if you can, sit upright. Hands on your thighs, shoulders over your hips, and your head above your heart. And close your eyes, feel your belly come back to neutral. And what we're doing with the body, if we're working to the extreme in certain ways to explore balance, and then our minds can also follow the body in that practice towards balance, peace. Bring yourself back, open your eyes if they're closed. And gently come forward into a tabletop pose, shoulders over your wrist, hips over your knees. And let's feel the body in a down dog tonight, but first we're going to step back through a plank. So right leg extends, tuck your toes under. And press into your hands, left leg extends, tuck your toes under. And feel the plank, it's the high part of a push-up. And then for down dog, we just start to lift the hips and coming into the shape of an inverted V. You can have a little bend to your knees. Make sure there's no slip in your foundation through your hands and your feet. Feel free to bend your knees. And as you lift your hips up and keep pressing your hands down. You notice any pressure, weight in your head, behind your eyes. It might be a really great time to open your mouth, stick out your tongue, and let your heart sigh. And from this version of your downward facing dog, we're going to start with pigeon on the left side. So left knee sets outside your left wrist, turn your heel in, and then set your shin down. Slide your right back and keep your hips relatively square so our bum is rolling down, back, and heavy towards the ground. Left shin is on an angle, and if you need more sensation for your outer left hip or thigh, you can pull your left heel forward or up the mat a little bit more. And keep your hips relatively square, and then follow your breath. On your next exhale, start to crawl your hands forward and come down onto your elbows. You can always put your props underneath your body here to support, so a pillow underneath your outer left thigh. And sometimes you'll put a pillow or a block underneath your chest. And you can stay on your elbows and your forearms or turn your elbows out, stack your palms, and let your forehead come down to rest on the back of your top hand. You can feel pigeon in a lot of places, but primarily, and you want to feel the outer left hip into your glute muscles and your outer thigh. And continue to soften here. If you've got tightness in your jaw and your face, resting the forehead on something will help release those muscles. And notice if you're pushing back on the resistance of the sensation of your outer left hip. And the pigeon stretch and start to really let go. Let gravity come down and through. And rest into the stillness a little bit deeper. Please stay in the shape that you're in. Take 3 deep breaths. So the inhale goes through your nose, and let the exhales go out of your mouth. You now rest in this new layer for the last 30 seconds. Roll your forehead out a couple times on your mat, side to side. The intuitive center symbolizing the ability to wake up and to awaken. And then hover your forehead off of the mat, off of your hands. Slowly make your way up to one hand, make your way to the other hand. And then to come out, we'll just slide the pelvis back and slide your left knee behind. As you come back onto all fours, let's release all the way down onto your belly. And let your legs be straight. And feel your hips release. And turn your right cheek down onto the ground. And let your belly release your low back. And now you can just watch this flow and all the energy come back into your left leg as you rest here. I'm sure you're still feeling the left side. And from your hip all the way down to your leg, turn your chin and bring your elbows in. And then press yourself back up to all fours. And once you set the hands, no rush. And kick your left leg back straight, tuck your toes. And then right leg straight, tuck your toes, and you're back into your plank pose. And firm the hands and then slowly start to lift your bum up into a downward facing dog. And you can have a little bend to your knees. You notice the feeling, the interpretation of the head below the heart. And again, take the opportunity, big breath in. Open your mouth, sigh, exhale. Exhale, let it out. And set up pigeon on the right leg. Bring your right knee, set it outside your right wrist. And turn your heel in so your shin is on an angle. And then start to crawl your left knee back. Your left knee crawling back is going to set the sensation in your outer right hip. And Once you're feeling it, then keep the hips back, come forward down onto your forearms. Turn your elbows out, stack your palms, and let your forehead come down to rest. So detox is a great practice, which you may have noticed by now, but it disarms the tension of the body, the muscular system, working with what is the connective tissue and the fascia. These are layers and layers and layers within the body, and that connect the body to the body. And so disarming tension doesn't mean that you're not thinking about stuff and that there's not a life and happenings. And so that's part of your mindfulness practice, is to observe anything that comes up. You observe a breath with it and then let it continue to move on. Long pigeon hold does a good job of getting at the deep stuff. And there's always that which sits closer to the surface that we're more readily aware of, but how often do we give ourselves the time and the space and to really get into the deep stuff? So this is a nice place to practice and to listen. Observe, please, without judgment. Anytime you're on your mat, at least when I'm practicing with you, you're allowed to feel anything, you're allowed to think anything, without judgment, without judging yourself, without judging each other, and you'll certainly never be judged by me.
Keep your body where it is. Take 3 deep breaths, please. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You may find that you get even heavier at the end of the exhales. And then once you finish your 3rd breath, and set into this new layer of stillness, and for the last 30 seconds. You roll your forehead out a couple times, side to side. Feel your forehead at center, and then start to hover it off of the hands. In this time, as you come up to your palms, we're just going to rock off to your right hip. And bring your left leg forward. And let both legs extend out in front of you. And then our rebound is going to be on our back, so you can go ahead and lie down. And flat to your back, please. Your legs all the way to your hips and your shoulders. You feel this release, and this time with your belly and your chest facing up towards the sky. And a lot of openness. And make any adjustments in your shoulders, and with your arms or with your hips and your legs that you need to be more comfortable. And let's take a breath up into the chest, and then hold the breath in for 5, 4, 3, 2, and sigh. Exhale, release all the air from your body. And take a deep breath, fill your lungs, and feel the chest, and then hold that breath into your body for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale, release all the air from your body. And then one more time, take a deep breath in. And get as much air to fill your lungs and feel your chest, and then hold that breath in for 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, and exhale, release all the air. And let your body go, and your shoulders, and your neck, and your legs, and from the tips of the toes into the tips of the fingers. And find yourself here. I want to welcome you to the relaxation of your body here in Shavasana. Hopefully some calm in your mind and some peace in your heart. And I know that your mind can be in a lot of places right now. Just a reminder and the importance and to ground ourselves and to be with what's real, to be with what you're feeling, and to realize that life is a process and we're going to continue and to process emotions, thoughts, feelings. So the practice has got your back, it's got my back, it's got everybody's back. Expand our awareness, the magnitude of a pandemic, but also being one of the most powerful movements on our planet, or at least in our lifetime. And so please take time to rest. This practice is built to restore and to allow you to and to rest. As we go to bed tonight, if you're doing this in the evening or if you're doing it in the morning and you're waking up to a new day, please notice the space and take this awareness of space with you into whatever you're doing in the rest of this evening, or whatever's coming next. And thank you all so much for sharing your practice, and for sharing your breath, and for a lot of love, a lot of peace, everybody. Reach out if you need anything. Please, please be kind and support yourself and support each other. I hope to see you very soon. Namaste.